Hallo, herzlich willkommen zur 58. Folge von Suzerain. Immer noch ein Apfel. Ich will nur kurz was zu trinken einschenken. Das war ein trockener Tag für mich. Deswegen muss jetzt hier der Tag mal irgendwie schön ausgeklungen werden. Und ich habe den Scheiß noch da und der muss weg. Beziehungsweise er muss nicht weg, ich könnte ihn auch einfach stehen lassen, aber warum sollte ich? Die andere Frage. Gut, heute haben wir einen Trade Deal und ich werde alles tun, um diese beiden Trade Deals durchzubringen. Alles. Mir egal. Wir fangen gleich mit Lespia an. After a long whistle, maroon train slowly started to move. This train had been in service for many years. It had 9 locomotives with special quarters and an office, as the name implied. It was painted with bright maroon color. Among the flashes and cheers, we departed from Holsworth Central train station. Our destination was Perla, the capital of Lespia. The historic route we were using was also called the Southern Express. We passed through the Lespian mountain range to the lowlands, with a short stop at the beautiful Seria Nuvia, where Lespian security forces joined us. Looking outside the window, the difference of wealth between Welgin and Serra Nueva was extraordinary. I had a knock on the door to my office on the train, and Simon entered. Mr. President. Simon, have a seat. He sat down on a chair. Unser economy ist nochmal gestiegen. In front of my desk. I wanted to have a quick chat about Prime Minister Alvarez, and give you a heads up. There have been some rumors about his demeanor in public appearance. What do you mean? What did he do? He's known to have met with other state leaders while intoxicated on various occasions. Some even call him an alcoholic. Is this something that could affect the trade deal? Honestly, I don't know. He handed me a newspaper. The headline was circling over Stelport. This happened just yesterday. Apparently, he was so drunk that he couldn't get off the plane on a diplomatic visit. After this incident, some say he is unfit to serve, but I don't believe that at all. These are the lesbians people fear? Ridiculous! Why is that? Although his presidency is riddled with these kind of incidents. I also heard that he's a shrewd man. Trust me, I can handle him. I do. I'm sure we will be fine, Mr. President. We are almost at Perla. I will return to my cabin now. Very well. A few minutes later, with a long whistle, our train came to a stop. I waved to the crowd from the window. Lots of reporters that flocked over were pushed away by the Lespian security guards. We made our way to our cars, and the convoy began its short trip to the Yellow House. Yellow House was situated at the very center of Perla, in the middle of a circular park that was off limits to regular citizens. The park was full of roses and small patches. The convoy came to a stop, and I made my way to the entrance. The assistants directed me to a room to wait for Prime Minister Alvarez. I started waiting in the exquisite room with golden chandeliers. Cheers. I waited for around 10 minutes, and there was no sign of Prime Minister Alvarez. It was almost time for our meeting. My chair started to feel uncomfortable. I stood up and walked around to look at the various items in the room. A beautiful golden teapot piqued my interest. Leave it alone! I admired the teapot and left it alone. Ich kann mich noch genau daran erinnern, dass er kaputt geht. I went back to my chair. The door opened and Patricio Alvarez entered. Although I knew that he was one of the youngest state leaders in the world right now, I was still surprised by how tall he looked. At his young age, he was leading one of the strongest countries in Eastern Macopa. He was holding his head like he had a headache, and he was stumbling. Upon seeing me, he immediately composed himself. We shook hands. He gestured towards the two couches, and we sat down face to face. President Rainey, welcome to Perla. Good to have you here. I hear a lot about your success. Thank you, it's good to be here, Mr. Alvarez. I hope you had a nice trip. I smelled the strong odor of alcohol. Don't say anything. Let's begin then. So, you are here for the trade deal. What was it about again? Can you remember it, Mia? Can you remind me? We want to provide Swedish tungsten in return for Lespian capital. Ah, yes, right. Sorry, I have just been very busy lately. You know, being a president makes you pretty busy. So, I don't have any issues with this deal. Except there's one problem. He smirked. Well then. Your decision to defend the border while Smolak committed the war crimes diverted all those refugees to here. Now we have a full-blown refugee crisis in Lespia, which unfortunately means that the price has gone up, Mr. Rainey. Makes sense. I knew this was coming, so what is on the new price tag? Good intuition. I want the one thing that anyone can possibly ever want out from werden. I want the oil. I'm listening. A lot of oil from werden is passing through Swortland, and Swedish Petroleum owns most of the oil trade in Swortland. Do you see where I'm going with that? Enlighten me! I want you to sell me Swedish Petroleum, or the deal is off. What? Will die fucking Firma? Wir brauchen diesen Trade Deal. Das war jetzt echt nicht. Wir hätten echt nicht auf Whirling gehen sollen. Very well. I accept. My favorite phrase in this world. I accept. I am overjoyed. This is a start to bring our countries closer than ever before. We, Eastern Macopans, should stand together. We shook hands. Speaking of standing together, I want to talk to you about something. By we, I mean ATO, would like to see Swortland in our sphere. What do you think, Mr. Rainey? That sounds excellent. How do we begin? Just the answer I wanted to hear. We need to form a defensive pact against the United Contender in Eastern Macopa until it's too late. They will attack eventually. He clenched his fist and slammed it on the coffee table. Those damn communists! We need to stop them before it's too late. Welksland, those barbarians, are preparing to invade Helgeland on false accusations. If Agnolia is first, Swortland will be next. I will be frank. Eastern Macopa's only way to survive is through ATO. And we need the support of one of the largest players in Eastern Macopa, Swortland. The beautiful country of Swortland is the key to all of this. We need you, Mr. Rainey. We need Swortland. Are you with us? We'll defend our continent against the blight of communism. Down with the communists. I'm willing to do whatever it takes to protect Swortland. Well said. First, Hegel will fall, then Meleniev. I offer you an alliance. Together we will shield the continent against Meleniev's evil. Not to mention that you will have Acacia's full backing, the most powerful ally you can have in this era. Oh, I accept. Swortland will be allied with Lespia. Perfect! Brilliant! You don't know how valuable you are, Mr. Rainey. You just saved out your country from its demise. I will personally talk to Mr. Walker to let him know of this achievement. Warte. Warte, Acacia? Ich bin gerade ziemlich verwirrt. Wer war Acacia? Nein, nein! We shook hands and he went for a hug. I could smell the alcohol in his breath. He looked at the clock. He looked at the clock. I'm afraid I have to leave now to attend to other matters. Thank you for your visit. He smiled and left the room. I returned to Holzer with good news. Lespia auf unserer Seite, das war wichtig. Und wir haben sogar nochmal einen Euro dazugekriegt. Oh, Rumburg, you will fall. You will fucking fall. Queen Beatrice Livingston has called for a reputation to be paid for the so-called past atrocities that occurred during the 15-Day War. Rumburg demands that the price of past wrongdoings must be paid if a path to peace is to open between the two nations. The Minister of Foreign Affairs is analyzing the situation and coming up with a plan of action. Wir werden denen kein Geld geben, wir mich verarschen. Gut, aber ich würde sagen, das war's mit der Folge. Lasst ein Like und ein Abo da, wenn es euch gefallen hat. Schaut beim nächsten Mal wieder vorbei und haut rein. Ciao.